This is Real 923 LA's new home for hip hop. I'm Jackie Ramirez from The Crew Show, and I've got Umi joining us. Umi, it's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You already radiate like such a beautiful like spirit. I can already tell that, and I know that that's definitely something you're very much advocate for, of like, you know, being with meditation and peace within yourself. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I mean, tell us like how you kind of got into that, like a little bit before we deep dive into the music. I want to deep dive into this.
That is such a good question. Well, when I was in high school, I was a very anxious person. Like, I would worry about everything unnecessarily, spiraling thoughts constantly. And I remember right before I graduated, I was like, I cannot live the rest of my life like this.
Right.
I'm too young to be stressed like this,
Right.
you know? So I had learned about meditation in a religions class in high school. So I decided to look one up on YouTube. I looked up 10-minute guided meditation. I did it, and I just started crying afterwards because I had never experienced that much quiet in my brain my whole life. So I said, whatever this is, I'm dedicating my life to learning more about this and sharing it with people.
That's awesome. And like, I mean, recently, and I know Constantine behind the camera can attest to this, I just did a breath work with, who was it, Constantine? Mike Posner. Mike Posner, yeah.
Wow.
He was teaching us a Wim Hof breathing technique. I don't know if you've ever even dabbled in Wim Hof, but that, like, we were doing that in the studio, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my body went like cold, and I was just like, okay, I feel relaxed, but I also know, like, I started tearing up, and I was just like, what is going on? It's such a like deep dive into yourself that it's almost a little bit scary at times.
Yeah,
it's definitely something.
I love breath work. Breath work is so powerful too because it helps to release stuck energy in the body. And I think that a lot of times when we feel depressed or sad or anxious, we think it's because of something we're doing, but honestly, it's just because there's stuck stuff. There's stuff that's in your system
that you just don't know how to get out.
Yes, exactly. So I teach breathwork as well, and I personally think it's going to change the world because you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to go anywhere to have the access to your breath. It's very powerful.
Do you ever and consider putting like, I don't know, I guess somewhere like breathwork in the behind of the track of one of your songs?
Yes, I actually just dropped a meditative version of my song Wherever You Are. So it's like a guided breathwork version of it. So, and eventually I'm going to do a whole meditative album as well.
Yeah, I was wondering that. And you know, your new EP, Talking to the Wind, correct?
Yes.
I was gonna say talking like something else. Talking to the Wind.
Talking to lots of things.
Yeah. Talking to the Wind is out now. Tell us about the process of going through that.
Talking to the Wind it's like a journal entry. If you listen to it, you're really taking a peek into my soul for 2023. I think 2023 for everyone was very chaotic in a way.
1,000%.
Right? And in order for me to find peace in that, I spent a lot of time outside and a lot of time with the wind, just feeling the wind, letting the wind speak to me. And the wind had a lot of peaceful messages, like just be, trust in life. And I wanted to take that peace that the wind gave me and put it into music. So it's me what's the word, like taking a feeling and turning it into a sound.
Okay.
So as you listen to it, without realizing, you're gonna be like, I feel calmer, I feel more peaceful, and it's not super in your face. And that's like the power of sound and frequency.
Yeah, when it came to like, you know, figuring out titles for everything, I noticed that the second track, Happy I'm just like, okay, I want to know what the vision was behind that, because obviously it's a backwards. I'm happy. I that's how I took it. What was the meaning behind that, if there was one?
I think it's the Japanese in me and the fact that I like to play with language.
Okay.
And having two languages that I use, I don't feel... My philosophy is that there's no right way to speak or right way to use a language. It's just about if your emotion is being carried out. And I thought Happy I'm was like cute and kind of like, whoa. And
yeah, like it's different.
It's different. And that's what the song felt like. I'm Happy was like, it's too, I heard it before.
Yeah.
Happy I'm was like,
Yeah, it's different. It stands out. And it also makes people think, like, for instance, me, it makes me think like, okay, is there a deeper meaning or is it just fun, you know? And that's what it was. You mentioned, you know, you are half Japanese. You speak Japanese.
Yes.
And I speak Japanese as well.
Really?
I only speak okay, so this is literally what I know. I just know Nihongo wa skoshi yanashimasu.
すごい上手 Wait, that's really good.
I took
Your
4 years.
pronunciation.
Yeah, I took 4 years in high school. I have a seal of biliteracy, but I'm still trying to get back into it.
That's impressive. That's really your pronunciation is really nice.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. When it comes to like, you know, being of two different cultures and two different backgrounds, how important is it for you to balance that in your music and as a person?
It's it's one of those things that it's important not to think about it too much, because then I think you start to overthink your identity, and if you're, am I this enough? Am I that enough? So these days I feel like the more happy and authentic I am, the more naturally I am balanced. And if I think about being balanced too much, then I overdo things in a way.
Yeah, I totally
what I mean?
understand
like,
that.
Use more Japanese, instead of being like, I feel inspired to use Japanese. I feel inspired to tap into my gospel roots. So it's more of an intuitive practice for me. But I think it's important to be aware that I do come from those cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me have a deeper appreciation.
And I feel like you also have a deeper appreciation for music because your parents are musicians too. I mean, how is that, you know, growing up? I feel like for me, I'm the first one in my family to pursue anything in entertainment. Wow. And I know for a lot of people it can be scary to be the first, but since your parents are musicians, was that, I don't want to say process was easier, but was it smoother and more understanding for them?
I think so. I mean, ever since I was little, they'd always be like, just do what makes you happy. And in a way, they're musicians, but they weren't able to live out their dreams of it. So I think when I wanted to pursue it, it's very easy for them to be like, I understand where that passion comes from.
Right.
So I definitely think that's made it easier for me to own that love that I have.
Would you ever consider having your parents on one of your songs?
Hell yeah. Heck yeah.
I think that'd be super dope.
I would love that. My dad lives in Seattle, so I would love him to come out on a tour and play drums for me. I'm trying to get my mom to play keys for me too. But she studied classical piano, so she's like, I need you to tell me what to play. I'm like, no, Mom,
you're like, you just gotta feel it. I think that'd be really dope. I mean, especially like you said, if your dad goes out on tour for you, like with you, like how many people can say that?
Yeah.
Like that their parents are part of their music, they're part of their craft. That's such a blessing in itself. You mentioned that your dad is still in Seattle, and you obviously moved over here to LA. Being from Seattle, I do want to ask the best teriyaki spot out there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there's one by the SeaTac airport. It's by the mall in SeaTac. I don't know exactly what the teriyaki store is called, but if you're from Seattle, you know which one I'm talking about. It's by the airport. That one is fire. I go every time because I feel like I pass through that every time I go to Seattle.
Right.
So.
I love Seattle. I've been to it, I think, about 3 times now, and that's always been my dream for some reason, is to go out there and move to Seattle. I love the rain. I love the cold. And I know for everyone from over there is like, well, what about LA? I'm just like, okay, I get it. And visiting my friends out there, we were also debating on the best wings. Now, they told me to ask you this, underground chicken or Burnett's? Burnett's?
Yes. Only because I haven't been to Underground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've been to Burnett's.
All
I
right.
can only
So
speak on what I've eaten.
You can only speak on Burnett's.
I can't lie.
And you do a lot of free concerts, I would say, back home in Seattle. How important is that to you? I know you have Seattle Art Museum this weekend, which my friend Heaven out there, she is curating. Oh. So I am super proud of her
small
for that.
World.
Yeah, super small world. But what does it mean for you to be like to have those types of community events at back home?
I think it's so powerful because growing up, I didn't really see a lot of people who look like me. And I think as diverse as Seattle can be, it can also be very not diverse in certain areas. So I think it's important to create spaces for people to come and not only see me, but see fans of me, which are very diverse groups of people, and be like, oh, there's people who are interested in the things that I am, who have a similar life, and we can thrive and we can find community. That's really important for me.
What is it that you see most in your fans that just keeps you going?
Kindness. I
feel like if you were to go to a show, to one of your shows, you're just filled with so much love and peace.
So much love. It's like those things where if you're tall, people go to the back and with no questions asked. Like if they can see you want a picture, people, you want me to take that picture for you? Do you want me to hold it? Do you need a bottle of water? They'll go buy water for someone who can't. Like I've had fans who've helped book a hotel for a different fan because they couldn't get back home that night. Like it's crazy the kindness I see, and it's not forced out. It's just who they are, and we bring it out of each other. So I look forward to seeing that every time.
But I also feel like you should give yourself some credit in that part too, because those are the people that you attract. You know, those are the people that as an artist, you know, you're gonna, and just as a person in general, you attract what you are. And I truly believe in that. And you are such a like free spirit. You're so peaceful. You're so kind. And that, like I said, that automatically shows. Like, and I know you mentioned you were anxious in high school, so I can't even imagine, you know, going through that. When was, I guess, that pivotal moment for you when you were like, okay, I need to do something about this?
I think another layer of that was when I knew I wanted to do music, but I was too anxious to perform for people. I couldn't even breathe when I would perform. I would start overthinking, what are people thinking? What do I look like? And I was like, if this is my dream, I need to shift who I am to step into owning who I'm meant to be, you know?
1,000%.
And that's I share these things so openly because I want people to know who you are is not this concrete thing. You can always change who you are, become the person you envision yourself to be. Because if me, who's too scared to sing in front of like 10 people, can now sing Coachella with no fear, it's like anybody could change.
I mean, you've performed at festivals, Soul Bloom. You performed at Soul Bloom. How was that? Like being in front of crowds like that. Like you said, it went from 10 people to now a huge crowd, and you're just like, okay, how am I gonna navigate this?
Yeah, I love it now. I love it now because I think I just know I'm meant to be there. This is how I'm meant to share my love and my light through people. And so when I go on stage, it doesn't matter what goes into my head. The moment I step on there, I'm like, it's time. And I love that about performing. It's like you can't not give it 100% anymore. You can't step away. So it kind of forces you into your full authenticity.
Are your parents very much like you, or are they very anxious people too?
A mixture.
Yeah,
they're pretty chill. I feel like they've become like, I feel like my parents have also healed as they've gotten older, and we've all healed together.
Right.
So I would say my healing is a reflection of their healing too. My mom, I think she used to be a lot more uptight and unhappy, but now she's so chill. Like her hair is green right now. Like my mom is living her best life. My dad's the same. I feel like he didn't love his job, so he was more uptight. But now he's like going back to playing the drums and building things, and so he's chilled out.
He needs to go on tour.
We
need to go on tour. Going back to the EP, Talking to the Wind. What was your favorite song in the writing process that you had like a most memorable writing process for?
Ooh. Okay, one really fun song is this one called Not Necessarily on the EP. And I love this one because V-Ron, the producer, pulled up the beat, and I wanted to freestyle that night. So I'm like, I'm freestyle this whole song.
Okay.
And I said, give me a word. So I don't have a word. I'm like, okay. But did something inspire you when you made the beat? She said, not necessarily. And I said, that's all I need.
Yeah, you're like, that was it. That's what I was looking for.
I think that was such a fun thing to look back at.
And when you go through a writing process, is there a lot of people in the room, or is it just like, it's just you and your producer or you and the engineer, and you're just like, it's just going to be us?
It's usually just us.
Yeah.
I don't mind people in the room, but I think when I'm creating, I'm channeling, and if there's a lot of energy in the room, sometimes I'm like channeling other people, and I'm like, I want to channel me and my creativity. So I prefer a simple space.
How do you navigate, because you are such a peaceful person into meditation, how do you channel getting people out of that have negative energy that aren't necessarily feeding a good vibe to you?
A big thing I've learned is negative and positive, neither is stronger. Like it's all just choice. Like negativity isn't stronger than light. So if I could step into the room, and no matter how dark the energy is, if I could be light, then my light power is just as powerful as the negative energy. And I'm also been very unconcerned about like other people in like a way of like, I don't really care what you think. I don't really care what your energy is. I'm going to maintain my sense of light and not let people pull on me. And when you have that like that grounded energy, people can't help but to raise their vibration up or leave the room. So that's how I navigate.
When it comes to like breath work and meditation and everything like that, I'm not super familiar with it, so let me know if I'm wrong. Is there one that you prefer of like sound bowls or breath work or just like solo meditation? I don't know if that all is like just one thing or it's all like separate.
That's a really good question. No, that's an important question. The way I do it is what do I need today? And then I go towards that. I don't like doing the same thing every single day. So my form of spirituality is tuning into myself. I'm like, I got a lot of thoughts going through my brain. I'm going to need some breath work today to really get myself clear. Or I feel good today. I just want to put some music on and just dance and breathe. So I think trying enough things that you have a lot of tools helps you to know what's right for you in the moment.
I feel like that we're definitely going to be seeing so much more of you. We're going to just be seeing your name on every freaking festival, and we're going to, we're going to put that energy out there. Umi, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Like I said, you're such a light. You're such a beam of positivity and peace, and literally I feel so good after this.
Yay!
So thank you so much, Umi. Talking to the Win EP, out now, available on all platforms. Umi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yo, check out more of our YouTube interviews now, ASAP Plus. Download the free iHeartRadio app so you can check out the Cruise Show podcast.